to our home game in a great stadium, and our guys have worked real hard, and a lot of respect for Miami, Ohio, and we got an issue with this quarterback and a receiver. They like to throw it, and those guys are excellent players, can play anywhere at the country. So the good thing is on film, the film does not lie, and that's caught the attention of our players and coaches. So we'll be ready to go.
All right, let's go to questions.
If you have a question at this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your first question comes from the line of Bill Rabinowitz with Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Urban. You said yesterday that it was a pivotal day for Nathan Williams. How did he come through that? What's the status for Saturday?
We're going to meet again today. He did practice, limited basis. We will try to get him in the game, but I'll know more. I know yesterday he passed the test to get in the game yesterday. How much, that's still it wasn't enough to let you know how much he's going to play.
Okay. Also, just a different question. You've got two defensive coordinators, or the co-defense coordinator and defense coordinator. How's that whole thing meshing? You've got some holdovers and you've got the new guys coming in on the defensive side.
Well, I think it's good to ask them. I watched and I listened real close. I sit in meetings. Luke Fickell is going to call the defense. Everett Withers is real take charge of the back end, the secondary play. So the good thing is there's two guys without egos calling defenses and two guys that are working together. So it's been very positive so far.
Thanks, Urban.
Again, if you have a question, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from the line of Kenny Rhoda with ESPN 850 WKNR.
Urban, where is this Buckeyes team in comparison to your other first camps and heading into your first games with BG, Utah, and Florida? Can you compare it?
No, I really can't. Those have been so long ago, and I don't want to have a headline somewhere saying that this team's better or worse, because I really don't know. I know we have some good players here, and we've taken over a program that's won a bunch of games in recent history, so it's not that far off. But I don't think that'd be fair to start comparing the two, or 3 or 4.
Okay, going into Saturday's game with Miami, what do you feel most confident about from what you've seen, and what are you still concerned about?
Great question. I think our defensive line will play well. I'm worried about our pass coverage a little bit, just because I've seen what these guys do on offense, and they're pretty good. And offensively, I think our offensive line will do well. I want to see how we're going to perform on the perimeter. And we've improved, but you think about the improvement that had to take place was almost insurmountable. I mean, there was a lot of improvement, and the good thing is we have improved.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Kyle Filippi with Big Red Report.
You mentioned in your opening remarks about Miami's passing game. How do you feel about your secondary against them? What are some of the ways you plan on limiting their big games?
I think our secondary has some experience. They played pretty good a year ago. I can't say that they played great. I think the scheme that Miami uses is going to put us in some situations that we better make sure we cover. They do a really good job throwing the ball. First of all, they're talented, but they do a lot of unusual formations that put you in a tough situation. So that's a concern of mine. Pass coverage is directly tied with pass rush. I think we'll be able to force some, hopefully force some errant throws and get after that quarterback a little bit.
Yes.
Again, if you have a question at this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Your next question comes from the line of Steve Hillwagon with 24.
Hey, Coach, this really didn't come up yesterday in the press conference you had with the local media, but the status of Storm Klein, his return to the team, and how confident you were in making that decision, and just what his role may be, obviously after the first couple of games when he gets back.
Well, that's all to be determined on, he missed all the training camp. So he's got, you don't play until he makes up everything, so he's currently making up a bunch of stuff. And I think the first part of the question, repeat that, I'm sorry.
Just how confident you were in that decision and how you vetted that and just what went behind that?
Well, just simply on the facts. He was released because of a charge of a domestic issue, and that every charge or everything associated with that charge was dropped. And I told him if that did happen, like anything, I'd reassess the situation. I wasn't comfortable with just the legal part of it. That's why I talked to both families. I wanted to make sure there wasn't something behind door number 2 that I wasn't aware of, and there was not. So that's the decision.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Tim May with Columbus Dispatch.
Hi, Urban. I was just wondering, Briante Dunn, we were talking about yesterday, was listed number 2 on the running back on your depth chart. I was just wondering, is there a close race with him and Rod Smith right now? Where does Rod figure in the deal, and what stands out about Briante?
Very close. Very close. Briante's had a very good training camp. Rod's only thing is consistency. Right now, Briante's a little more consistent, but it's a very close race. And the guy, I don't know if I told you guys yesterday, Warren Ball had a surgery on his foot, and he was really making a nice push as well. So, but it's very close between number 2 and number 3.
Can you sense the eagerness of Braxton Miller to have that black shirt off and the red shirt on and the freedom to run? I mean, just talk about what you sense in him here a couple of days before the season opener.
Yeah, I made the comment about a cage tiger. There's no question. We ran a couple plays yesterday where they were actually designed runs, and I blew the whistle before he got to the line of scrimmage, and he kept looking at me like, "What are you nuts?" So he's very, very excited.
Thanks, man.
Your next question comes from the line of Kenny Rhoda with ESPN 850 WKNR.
Urban, we got to watch the all-access stuff on ESPNU and ESPN, and we heard the term the juice a lot. Do you sense that there's going to be plenty of juice out there on Saturday afternoon with these guys? Did they get the message? Do they understand that?
It's my first time climbing in the arena together, so I'm hoping. You won't see a whole lot of the so-called juice yesterday or today because we're just, Tuesday practices are miserable, so it's going to be survival day to day. But I would anticipate if we have conversation Thursday night and Friday, it better be coming out of the woodwork here, and I would anticipate it would because these kids are excited to go play.
How happy are you, Urban, with the guys you selected as your captains going into what is a very unique season? Your first, no bowl game and all that. Take me through, the guys you selected and how happy you are with them.
Well, I did select them. The players voted on the captains, and I couldn't be more proud. I love those 5 guys. They do well on and off the field. They do the things the right way. They're great leaders, and they play really hard. And I've really got really close to those guys. They're actually involved in the leadership committee and making decisions for our team, but I could be more proud of those guys.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Adam Rittenberg with ESPN.com.
Hey, Urban, what are you going to be looking for from the freshmen that play for you on Saturday?
4 to 6 seconds of great effort. I mean, they're going to make some mistakes, but we're not concerned about that. We're going to do the best we can to put them in good position, but just watch them go real hard, and I think they will.
Are there any guys particularly you're looking forward to seeing in a game situation in that class?
Sure, Devin Bogart. David Perkins is a guy that the last couple of days has really exploded a little bit. Michael Thomas will get some extended time. Taylor Decker will get some time. Adolphus Washington and Noah Spencer, guys off the top of my head.
Thanks.
Your next question comes from the line of Jonathan Shop with Spartan Nation.
Hey, Coach, you're from Ohio. You've played there, coached, and now returned there to coach again. What is it about the character of the people of the state of Ohio that mixes so well with the game of football?
Well, what a great question. When you think of Ohio, you think of football. I mean, I think of high school coaching, too. I think of when you recruit a kid from Ohio, almost always the high school coach is right in the middle of that because that's that relationship. I learned if you had to say where did you learn our style of coaching, our style of teaching and relationship, it's the high school coach in the state of Ohio. They're hard on the players, they push their players, but they care for their players, and that's what I'd like to think that makes the Ohio player maybe a little different.
And Coach, reaching back into your memory, is there a lesson or two that may stand out from a coach that you had, even still stands out today from way back when?
A coach that I had?
Yes, is there any lesson that you might have taken from it?
Sure, just our high school coach, Paul Kopka, when I was playing in Ashtabula, Ohio, Ashtabula St. John. And there's many lessons, but it was all about taking care of yourself off the field and on the field, doing the right things, or you had a problem. And it was all accountability to your teammates and a family atmosphere. And I'd like to think that's kind of what we do.
All right, time for one more question for Coach.
Your final question comes from the line of Lee Barnett with Omaha World Herald.
Hey, Urban, in regard to the new helmet rule, are you going to march down to the training room with all your guys and make sure their helmets are blown up right and their all 4 chin straps are there?
We're going to that's a good question, because